the new wheels are here. These are the VRS TR7. I had originally wanted the gunmetal finish for just the spokes. They didn't have them. Ordered them, they didn't have them. Then I saw that they had an all bronze looking wheel versus this one, and the bronze one was on back order. And I thought the bronze with the orange color that I'm gonna paint the car later would go really well. So they didn't have that. They'd have to wait for a week. So I got this color, this just regular silver. And if I so choose later, I can get this portion done here in a color that I choose. And I'll probably do that. The same people that did my Viper wheels for me, they do like rim repairs and painting, and I'd be okay with that color. They had some other colors available and stuff like this. Or I can just have the whole wheel powder coated is what I can do. And I may go that route. That way I can get the all gunmetal or, you know, just whatever color I think would look good. But these are it. These are actually a pound lighter than these, what do you call the bassets. They're actually a pound lighter. These bassett ones are 16 pounds. So you're talking about 1 pound of unsprung weight per wheel that's dropped. Again, these are 0 millimeter offset. So as you can see, I don't know if you can make it out from here, but obviously these are deeper dished than these, but they are quite a bit. I mean, you got quite a bit of lip in between here and the flange. So remember, what we're going to do is use these spacers here, because now I have less backspace, 4.5 inch backspace versus 3, to where now these are going to go on first, and it will push the wheel that would have normally wanted to sit farther in because of the 4.5 backspace. Now it's going to come back out 1.5 inches, which is what these are. So it'll should put the wheel and tire just back exactly where it was at. I'm hoping anyway. I'm going to do a fit now. So as you can see, that's the wheel mounted. And if you remember, when we hovered over here, yeah, that's not going to come out far enough. Now, in here, it seems like, you know, I'm not sure if when this wheel turns, if it would actually contact anything. It looks like it would. And the main problem, obviously, is contacting in here, where we have our charge tube coming back up from the front. I'm not sure back here, but the remedy, obviously, is like we noted, is putting the spacers on. Now, one of the interesting things to note, because of this backspace, is this wheel cap. If I left the wheels like this wheel cap, the axle stem is sticking too far out for these to go on. So yeah, depending on how badly you'd want to run the center cap, you might have to take a grinder to this, grind it down some. And you can see there's plenty of thread here on this nut. It's no danger of coming off by doing that, but literally you'd probably have to do that. But since we're running the spacer, that's going to kick this wheel further, this wheel further out, and will give us the space we need. So yeah, here we go. So yeah, this is going to work with the extension on there. Now, I bought these hub-centric rings. You can get these from Discount Tire. Just you have to measure you have to know the bore of your stock hub, and then the tires or the wheels you're going to get. But they'll have the hub-centric rings, because without this ring, this lip right here from the spacer doesn't seat on here, so you need this for centering. But as you can see, the cap snaps on there and we're all good. And it gives us, just like the prior wheel and tire was, puts it right back out where it was at. So good deal. So now I'm going to go ahead and take it off and start installing the spacers all the way around with the hub-centric rings. So I'll put on hub-centric rings on. And torque to 90 foot-pounds. And the medium strength thread locker all on. Now what we have to do is go get these all taken off and then put on these wheels. The other 3 are in the house. Like I said, later may do something with these ribs, have them painted, or may just have the whole thing powder coated. We'll see. And so in case you're wondering, this is the one you can get from Discount Tire. Made in Italy. You know, the same people that make the Ferrari stuff, you know. The part number 73251, and it's 73 to 5710, and it tells you right here the wheel bore size is 2.874 inch or 73 millimeter, and then the vehicle hub size, which is what your hub size is 2.248 or 57.10 millimeter. So again, part number 73251. So if you didn't have this on, take this off, if I can get it off. This would be your stock hub, right? So this is your stock hub with the stock hub section, and then this hub centric ring goes right on like that, and Bob's your uncle. But because this sits on here in this place, now this is just specific to this, you know, spacer. I can't speak to any other spacers you would get, but since this takes that, when I set that wheel on here without this hub centric ring on here, I'd have the same situation of not running a hub centric ring back here. So this is where we're going to run ours, right? Because obviously it's not going to fit on here to then have this put on. That ain't going to work. So anyway, just a small piece there. Also, when you're putting on these things, these wheel spacers. Now, one thing they get a bad rap for is you have to understand, you want to make sure that you put a little Loctite on these to keep the spacer on. Just some Loctite. I wouldn't obviously recommend it on these studs. You also don't want to put any heavy axle grease or any kind of anti-seize on these as well. It might make some sense to put a little bit of anti-seize right here on the face here once you clean all that rust off, to, you know, maybe keep the in this case the spacer from sticking. Sometimes at the shop we have to take a small sledge and bang the wheel and tire to get it to come off this face, because it's basically been rust welded on, and a lot of times it's around here. That's the main culprit. But yeah, just always remember to use Loctite, and then try to use a torque wrench if you can to 90 foot-pounds, 85 to 90 foot-pounds. So, excuse me, somewhere in there, just like you would use it in the most sensible way. Now you can use torque rods. Most shops have those, but it makes sense to do, you know, put a torque wrench on it just to make sure you got the proper torque. Now, of course, when this comes off, I'm gonna have to if I'd have to do brakes, then I'm gonna have to take the spacer off, because obviously it's bolted onto the wheel or onto the hub here. So, but anyway, just a quick thought. Just make sure you use some Loctite on these things and torque them down. I should add too that the thread locker that you want, you don't want some stuff that you can never get off again, because just like I noted with doing your brakes, you're gonna have to take, if you're gonna, you know, machine your rotors, replace your rotors, you're gonna need to take those things off. So you don't want any of the super red, like put it on, forget forever. This is medium strength thread locker blue gel, of course, by Permatex. I don't know the part number on here. I've had this forever. Just takes a little bit. I mean, like the less than half the head of an eraser, basically, less than that. And but yeah, this is all you need. Medium strength, blue, red, it doesn't matter. Just make sure it says medium strength. One thing last on these wheels is the sad part is these are my old 10 spline Gorilla lugs. The problem with these wheels too is that because they're steel wheels, and I don't know if that's the case for all steel wheels, but they needed a 45-degree seat. Well, most of these tuner wheels that you get are 60 degrees. And so they talked about how if you didn't use those, you might have some issues with the wheels coming off and stuff like that. So if you want something other than just some generical ugly lug nuts, then, you know, finding a set of these at a 45-degree angle, it ain't happening. So at least now we can use these type of lug nuts, and it opens me up to all kinds of different varieties and stuff like that. I like these because these are 10 spline. Most of them end up being 6 spline or 8 spline. The 10 spline I would associate, they used to be blue anodized, you can tell, but I usually associate these with some type of locking lug nut because I don't see too many of the 10 spline keys out there for them. But I could be wrong, but it was that way for a long time. I could never find a 10 spline key for them when I lost mine temporarily. But anyway, just a small note. Now I can run the type of lug nut I want to because these are tuner wheels. All right, so I got these new wheels and tires on. These were much better, obviously, since they're balanced with the hub instead of the lugs like the last set. They went a lot easier. Remember we were talking about road force, okay? I road force tested these things. And remember I was talking about that number 20. 20 is the max, okay? And if you did have some that were extremely out of road force, you could then do what they call match make. And I explained that in the last video. Well, we didn't have to do any of the matchmaking. The number 20, it went good. I'm going to show you each one, except one came out perfect. The other three had some level of road force, and one of these wheels, the one I'm going to show you that has the highest amount of road force, when he put the measure on the lip, you could tell it had like a slight bend to it. However, it was the last one that he did. When we road forced it the first time, it was a 21, which was just one over. We did a little process where, unlike matchmaking, the machine will also tell you this, where you take basically, and you can see, let's see if I see where I can see where we did it on this one. Yeah. So you can take the wheel and tire and you can mark the wheel and you can mark the tire. Now, this is the end result, but the other result was maybe this mark on this wheel was over here. And then so what happens is you can take this wheel and tire combo back over to the tire installer, set it on there, pinch this with the machine, both on this side of the firewall, sidewall and this side, and then rotate the rim inside of it while holding the tire still, and you can make these two line up. And when you do that, the road force becomes less. So I think each one of these were measuring 22, 24 road force, and so it had us do this. And that's the number it came to. Okay, so 5 below the max spec. The lower the number, the better, naturally. So this one's 15. One of them had 0. Well, that was good. This one here had 11 after we moved it. This one here, I think, yeah, this one was 22, and then when we did the move, it turned to 24. But this is suspect. This is the last one that we did, and the guy was tired. We had pulled these tires off the old steel wheels, put them on these. It was the end of the day. We had a busy day. He was tired, and so I'm going to take this back, and we're going to redo this one. I think we'll get a better result. But he did say on this one, when you're doing it on the balancer, you take, on both sides, you take an arm and you put it right on the inside lip, right here, and it'll measure. He said while he was doing that, he felt there was an imperfection in the wheel. Quite possible. But he said 24, you're probably not even going to feel that. But here's the key. If you do have wheels that do this, the idea is to put your worst road force wheel at your right rear location. Your next worst, your left rear location. The next one, the right front. Your best one you want on the driver's side front. However, I can't do that with this one because we didn't know until we got these tires installed and balanced on here, you know, obviously how they were all going to turn out as far as road force goes. And so this one has the face of the wheel here. This tire's directional. So guess what that means? The worst one's going to go to my driver's side rear, which it should go over to the passenger side rear. But again, I'm going to have this one redone. I think we'll get much better than that. But again, he said 24, you're probably not going to feel anything on that. The rest of them are acceptable, obviously. So I've got them arranged here. This one's 15. Because of the tire tread direction and all that, this one's going to have to go right rear. This one, because of the tread direction, left rear. The 11 will go right front, and then this best one here will go left front. I don't know if you can see it, but It's good having jets flying again. We live near an area where you see jets come by probably every 10 minutes. And with all the COVID crap, the skies have been empty and quiet. So I'm glad to see travel happening and all that stuff again. These wheels also are lighter. The Bassett's were supposedly 16 pounds. These are 15, but they feel lighter than even that. So I'm not sure Bassett was giving me an accurate number. But they feel much lighter, and that proves well because guess what? That's unsprung weight. Each wheel, let's just take Bassett's word, it's a 16 pound difference. A pound at each wheel, that's significant for unsprung weight. So acceleration will be faster. And of course you're trying to move or motivate less weight. Right. And as hoped, they do. And of course, I knew they would fit. I'd already test fit the wheels. Now remember what we're going to do at some point, because I'd originally wanted the gunmetal spokes and then the machined lip. But you know what? I had an option to buy the bronze ones, and I didn't get them. But I thought, man, bronze with a carbon fiber hood, that orange, that bright orange, that orange I was looking at getting put on here, that reddish orange, that would have looked dang good. So at some point I would take these wheels off, and I'm going to have them powder coated bronze, or what color I choose at that point, but it'll be a darker color. But for now, these work. The other ones I wanted weren't in stock. The bronze were in stock, but due to my hesitation, and I just wanted to hurry up and get this done, here we are. But yeah, so the moment of truth was seeing how far these stuck out, and they stick out just the same. I've already put on the fender flare and saw, and it sits just right. So 4.5 backspace. For those that want these are the VRS, VRS TR7, 15 by 8. They have a 0 offset, which makes them 4.5 millimeter. I'm sorry, 4.5 millimeter. Excuse me, 4.5 inch backspace, 0 millimeter offset. Okay, and they're supposed to weigh 15 pounds. So, and they have them in 4x100. As you can see, there's an option for a different bolt pattern on there, 4x114, I think it was. I'm not sure, but yeah. And the blacks, I could not get a metal valve stem in time, so we just used the rubber for now. But I will get the obviously a silver one in the future here shortly. But yeah. All right, gonna go for the test drive. Let it warm up. It's a little chilly day here, not too cold. So a couple things I'm gonna be checking is make sure all the turning and all that stuff, no rubbing steel, even though it looks the same. You can see in the back that right rear tire, I'm definitely going to need to do a alignment on it once it's done. So I'll get that taken care of, and pretty much I'm hoping that the ride goes well. So we'll see. So the initial test drive's over. Much smoother acceleration, much better handling. However, on this front right side, remember we talked about placing the tires. This is the number 11, and so our number we're looking for is 20 or less. And because of the way I installed the tire onto the rim before we knew what the actual road force was going to be, we weren't going to sit here and just take them off just to get the right one. But I put the most egregious one, which I think was 24 on, which should have went back here to the passenger side rear. I put it on driver's side rear because the tread was going in that direction and the face of the rim was out. Okay, so, but there isn't any vibration coming from anywhere else except here. So, whereas before it was coming from everywhere. So the wheels made the fix, but watch. I got my hands at my 3 and my 9 o'clock position on my tire. The car is in the air. No movement whatsoever here. The wheel bearing. problem. The other side doesn't have as much play, but if I'm going to do them, I'm going to do them both at the same time. Another way you can hear is if you don't have a lot of play, spin it. You probably can't hear that, but there's some like crackling and stuff like that in there. And I can't really spin it fast enough because this has that phantom grip limited slip differential in here, and it's turning the other side too, but I can hear it like that. That's a wheel bearing problem. And plus, if you look at this part right here, it shouldn't move. This tread line should not move away. Look at that. So in addition to the wheels being not able to be balanced, the Bassett wheels, I had a wheel bearing problem also. Now, what came first, the cart or the horse? A lot of people say using these spacers on here will cause premature wear to your wheel bearings. I don't know if that's true or not. I had these same spacers on here for years with the 17-inch wheels, and I don't know, only now has it turned to be an issue. I say only now. In my industry, many times people bring their cars into the shop and they'll come in for a concern, they'll leave. A week later, they'll say, hey, ever since you did whatever it was, now I hear a popping sound from when I turn corners. Well, had nothing to do with what we did, but unfortunately, when technicians touch your car, they get married to it, or they own every problem from then on out. So, but anyway, so it just might have been time. This car, it's a 97, and of course the engine's freshly built. Transmission is not from this vehicle. It's got 186,000 miles on it. So I've had this thing since, man, I want to say 2005, earlier than that. And I've never replaced wheel bearings on it. So looks like we're doing wheel bearings. Also, I know you guys' least favorite subject's the radio, but the radio, although I have the hotspot on my phone, the Wi-Fi is working on the radio. It's not allowing me to do, you know, YouTube, Google search, use Waze and stuff like that. So I contacted the customer service. Now keep in mind, if you know, and y'all know this project, this radio got put in here April. And just through my schedule, being able to work on it, I probably didn't get it up and running until May, I guess, maybe. And then, even then, I might have used it cumulatively. I mean, from the time I sat in here trying to get the stereo speakers all working and all that stuff, probably cumulatively, if you could add up all the seconds, maybe a couple hours. So I contacted the customer service. They said, oh, to be please understanding our heartfelt sympathies and sorrows, please would you be acceptable to 95% new and all this stuff. Anyway, long story short, with that back and forth, they wanted to send me a motherboard, wanted me to put it on, and pleased to be watching this super easy video, child could do it. And yeah, no. So, you know, I said, look, you know, it's a brand new radio, should work, it don't, Jaw's problem, what do you want to do? The best case scenario is they're going to send me a remanufactured one. There wasn't no help to get a new one, and I'm not sure that would even matter with how this thing failed so quickly. So again, got bit by COVID China. So I'm going to send that in, let them fix it. They're going to replace the motherboard on it, and then I'll get it back. So there's the update on that. Looks like the Eonon is probably not the best choice. We'll see how the second round goes.